This is Mike Ross, public address announcer for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup: Roscoe, the Fanalist, Suthy, Beaner, and Darty.
Hello. Welcome back to Leafs Late Night, where it is never, ever too late for the Leafs, presented by the one and only Inside the Rink, where you can find all of our lovely merchandise if you'd like to grab it. It is now available, some new fun stuff. But as always, I'm Roscoe, I'm joined by Suthy, and we might have somebody else show up randomly throughout the convo. But here we are. We got some things to talk about. It's been a few games. Suthy, how you doing?
Good. It's nice to be back on the pod. I think this is the first one since the new year. Too bad I had to come after a loss, but here we are.
Yeah, welcome back. Hey, there's been some wins. I think there was a win since. So yeah, we can talk about at least one of those. We had a few this year. So yeah, the year started off well. We had obviously some easy games with Anaheim and a back-to-back with San Jose. But it was, I think, a good way to start things off after a losing streak. You know, get the guys back in the gear and feeling good, scoring lots of goals because San Jose is absolutely terrible. Like, watching them play is kind of embarrassing. Like, it's really bad.
I feel like the way they played those two games, the Marlies would be in a really tight game with them. And
they're not even that good this year.
No, they're not. But yeah, to your point, it's a very good start for the Leafs this year because obviously they got a couple wins. The biggest thing was just they shored up their goaltending. Even if it was just Martin Jones coming in to save the day wearing his cape, that was a huge thing, I think, for this team.
Oh, yeah, their confidence definitely shifted. I mean, we talked about how much it was painful to watch people try to fall back and defend Sammy because they knew he wasn't going to stop it. So it's nice watching the guys finally feel free and playing well. There was a lot of talk about that second San Jose game being a trap game because, you know, it was coming back from a road trip. It's against look at that. Here he is. I knew he was going to be here. What are we?
Also,
these are things we promise.
We're notoriously bad at beating bottom feeders in the league. So to get a string of them, that was great. We needed to rack up those points.
We did for sure. I'm just telling Mr. Darty Brother here to rejoin because he's here, but it says he's not recording, and that is literally my worst nightmare. So
he's here in spirit only.
I'm gonna have him rejoin. So yeah, it had all the makings to be a bad game, and the Leafs ended up just continuing their roll through of San Jose as they should.
Yeah.
We are going to take. Oh no, it is recording. Oh, thank God. Welcome, Mr. Darty Brother. I will play your theme song. Oh my God. Plug headphones in, turn something down. Darty, it's Darty Brother.
Hello.
One and only.
What's going on, you beautiful people?
I can hear us talking back if you can turn whatever down, but it's going great, buddy. It's going great. Happy to have you here. I love it.
All right, yeah, my audio may be a little shoddy. I think it was pretty bad last time too because I couldn't find what do you call it? Riverside. If you're gonna update the app, give people a fucking tutorial, okay? Because I couldn't figure out how to mute it. They hit it somewhere that was not convenient. In the past, it was a very obvious press this to mute. Very simple. Now it's hidden in the options. I don't want to do that. I want it right there in case I got to mute right away.
We got a classic car cast coming in from Darty. Are you driving right now? Don't answer that question.
I didn't hit the wrong mute button, so I muted you.
I think I can tell from looking. You don't need to answer that for legal purposes. So we thought that these wins against the shitty California teams was going to be a good thing coming into this game here against the Islanders. And obviously we knew Colorado was going to be a tough game, but that Islanders one was one that really thought that they would take, and it really hurt to lose that one in OT, especially anytime they're booing JT. I want to send those guys home sad. Yeah, that was tough. Oh, am I losing you guys?
Nope.
Okay,
that
good.
that was a tough one though. Like especially being up a few goals and then in both games just being up 2 goals, I think, and coughing it up. The Islanders one was a bit of a trap one because they came back from the West Coast. They were on a bit of a high. I kind of expected them to lay a bit of an egg that game, but tonight was a little more concerning, or at least upsetting, right? Because they came out in the first 20 minutes, it's like guns blazing. They looked great, defensively great, offensively great, and then they just stopped playing.
Yeah, it seems like the moral of both games is don't get comfortable. This team seemed to. I know you can get comfortable against San Jose when it's 7-0, but you can't get comfortable against teams that actually are NHL caliber and sit back after a couple goals in one period. And that kind of seems like what they've done is all the way up to Keefe, the way that the lines have come out. It's like, okay, let's just run the third and fourth out there to protect this. Like there is a defense in offense. If the puck
100%.
stays in their end, they can't score on you. And I feel like that just escapes them once they get a lead, and it's really hard to watch. The other thing that I noticed, I mentioned Gio looked young again a couple games ago, especially that LA one. Mm-hmm. And I said, the Gio plus rest equals good. Yeah. That rest has evidently worn off. And my question is why, with so many defensemen sitting in the wing, including Connor Timmins, who are paying over $1 million, and Lagesson, who's played minutes, and there's all these guys that have been in the lineup. Why are we not giving Mark Giordano a break? Because that Gio Liljegren line has been so hot and cold.
I completely agree. I was one of his biggest, staunchest defenders, and I still think he's got some gas in the tank. But to your point, we have to manage his ice time a lot smarter than we are. Especially we're playing tomorrow. He could have had the night off tonight and then played tomorrow, right? I would have much rather it that way. He gets a much longer break coming off the Isle game. He didn't look very good tonight, man.
But I mean, you're saying that we could rest him tomorrow, and chances are he's probably going to play tomorrow. And that's what frustrates me is why? He was so great when he came back from his injury. He had that rest. It looked like he was, like you said, he's got gas in the tank. But that just seems to burn out after 3 or 4 games. So give him a rest. You have so many guys.
When he's not making the smart and easy plays, that's when he's in trouble, right? Because that's his bread and butter. At this point, he's reliable, he's steady, he does all the small things right. So when you see him coughing up pucks in his own end on the penalty kill, it's a red flag. The guy needs a bit of a break. And to your point, you got Timmins in the wing, you got other guys, bring him in.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I've noticed the most is you can tell he's gassed when he just starts throwing it up the boards every time he gets it. You don't see him hold on to it for more than a fraction of a second. It's like, I'm not doing this.
It's just, I think Keefe needs to get his, maybe take a couple notes from, a baseball manager, because at this point, when the guys are that old, it's like leaving the pitcher on the mound, for the fucking 9th inning. He's struck out everybody. Pull him, the poor bastard. I don't give a crap if he's going for for some record-breaking thing. The guy's old, all right. I don't know. I don't see why.
He is.
This is one of those things where when people are going to look back at Keefe's time as a coach, this might be somewhere that he's people are overly critical with him. I think he's not neglectful, but maybe he's just ignorant to the fact that this guy is fucking ancient. I liked Lagesson. I liked Lagesson's looks. I know we've got Timmins on the back burner. There's guys that can fill that role, temporarily. And I know we're very cognizant of how we manage our goaltending, but I think in the similar vein, I think we need to have the same level of respect for our defense as well, especially because of the precarious situation that we often find ourselves when everybody gets injured. And with a guy of Gio's age, again, he's probably going to listen to this if he ever does listen to this and think, man, these guys are really ragging on me for my old age. He probably thinks he's still a young buck, he's probably going to be mad at us, send us an angry letter saying, why do these guys keep talking about I'm some fucking, I'm some invalid. But the truth is, it's just he's not a young buck anymore, and give the guys, let the sleeping dog lie a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah, in hockey years, he's long in the tooth, 100%. And there's nothing wrong with giving him a couple games off. He's going to be in practice, and he's still going to be mentoring young guys, which is really a big part of his role right now too. So to Darty's point, yeah, that's well said, Darty.
Yeah, and I think as far as mentoring young guys goes, like Liljegren has kind of been stapled to him whenever they've been out there. That has been a solid pair when it works. When it doesn't, like Liljegren thrives in a situation where he has a responsible defensive partner that can cover for him, because Liljegren likes to come up and take those little extra chances and be that depth offensive forward. And he can't really do that when there's all these turnovers. And I think like that's where we're seeing the mistakes tend to happen, is, you know, Liljegren pinches up and Gio misses a pass or something. Like it's not doing either of them any favors, and it's not helping Liljegren's development when Gio's playing badly. When he's playing well, like again, it's LA, it's great. You know, like just give the guy some games off. That's all.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so I kind of jumped into this chat. And so I listen to the games a lot because I'm a cheap bastard, and I also try to make sure I watch some of the highlights if I can't see it on TV. But am I mistaken in saying that did our Lilydale chicken cutlet not get a goal this game, or what? Like,
oh, he did.
Yeah,
it was a beauty too.
Yeah, it was all from Mitch Marner's new favorite player, Pontus Holmberg. This guy has been on fire. He was a +3. I don't know what he ended with. They kept mentioning he was a +3 on the night, but that's before the
first,
debacle. Well, even once the goals started coming against them, I think he still managed it for at least 2 of them. But it all came down to his effort to keep the play alive in front of the net. You know, he's down on his knees, he's whacking at it, he's keeping the puck alive, and managed to make its way out right to Liljegren, who put it in. So great effort. This guy's really making a case to stay in the lineup. I mean, it helps when you have the endorsement of Mitch Marner, but you know, now everybody's talking about him.
Well, he had a good career in Europe even before this, and he just does all the little things right. Like, he works really, really hard. He's good on the puck battles. He's got a bit of offensive upside, but he's very, very responsible defensively as well. He's a great addition right now. And that's not good news if your name is Nick Robertson.
Unfortunately not.
And a quick shout out to Pontius Home Slice. All right, he's definitely surprised me a lot too. That guy, I'm pretty sure he was on the line with Domi, if I'm not mistaken, right? And like that's not a bad little line out there.
Yeah, was it Yarncroke, Domi, Nyes, or Holmberg?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
Or was it
in the fourth line was Gregor, McMahon, and Kampf.
Yeah.
So yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, Domi scored as well. He's been playing well the last couple of games.
Yep.
That knuckleball from way out was a nice change. You know, we don't usually see that.
Yeah, if there's one thing, maybe we would like the fourth line to be going a little bit more, but
yeah, they've been shit.
The top 3, they've been rolling pretty well.
Yeah. Another thing that's changed that seems to be working well is Nylander taking the bumper spot on the power play. And I think what's cool about this is when we had Mitch Marner there, yes, he's good at playing that defensive role, but he doesn't have... It's not that he doesn't have a shot, but 9 out of 10 times you're not expecting him to take that shot. Whereas Nylander, you put him there and all of a sudden the defenseman and, the defending team has to make a choice of like, oh shit, like, do we let Nylander have the shot from here or do we pinch the pass? Like, it adds a little more confusion and chaos to the other team for the power play. And I think that's a really good choice. And I'm glad that Nylander's now at a point where he is respected across the league enough with his shot that that's an option.
You have to respect his shot. And that means that defense would have to be out on him a lot quicker. And it gives a lot more space on the half boards for Matthews, whoever's down there right now. It's Tavares. I really, really like him out there right now. I think he's been celebrating a little too hard after putting the pen to paper. So hopefully he comes back in the next game and dials it up a bit. But to your point, I really like him back there.
Yeah, and the other end of that is that puts Mitch in front of the net, and he's creative and small and handsy, and you know he can be a little bit of a pain in the ass there. So it works, I think, for now. Darty, you got something?
Not to get ahead, because I don't remember. I remember I jumped into this. I don't know how far we are, but how do we feel about Jonesy tonight?
He played good.
I mean, yeah, he's been playing well. I don't fault him for not any of them. I mean, like, obviously there's always one you'd like to have back, but like, I don't think he's been playing badly. He's got a 928 save percentage coming into tonight. He's had 8 wins. Like, he's played, 12 of their last 13 games. It's been
one of his biggest things I found is he goes side to side really, really well. He doesn't overslide. He knows how to track pucks really well there, and he doesn't give up too big of a rebound when he does it. He made 2 really big saves tonight doing that.
Yeah, and he only once has made me butthole clench, but with his behind the net puck handling.
I don't like him touching the puck. That's a big thing, yeah.
It's usually like a rule of thumb for most goaltenders, stay in the net. But yeah, he had one little blunder outside of it. But other than that, I mean, dude's been solid. Absolutely solid.
Everybody wants to be Marty Brodeur, but they all just end up being Darty Brodeur, all right?
No one's Darty Brodeur, let's be real. You'd sooner be Martin than Darty.
But,
instead we got Martin Jones.
Martin Jones. I know, that's crazy. The Leafs don't need a good goaltender. They just need a goaltender. And it's crazy that, like, I think even Vasilevsky, when he has bad games, let's say a game where he lets in 3 goals, there's a lot of games I feel like he's let in 3 goals but still won, because like that's the kind of, I'm not like, Leafs don't need Andre Vasilevsky, but they need a goaltender who has that same mindset of, okay, you might score 3 on me, but that's it. All right, That's all you're getting. And like, I feel like obviously the Leafs lost 5-3 tonight, whatever, but I think where I'm going with this about goaltending is the Leafs just need a guy who's still not going to fucking panic when, 2 or 3 bad goals go on him. You just have to say, you know what? Okay, I'm closing the lid to the garbage can. That's it. That's all it's getting in there. It's all about just having, not like courage per se, but more like just, I don't want to say, testicular fortitude, but it's just like at some point you just have to say, F this. I'm still going out there and playing a damn good game. And I feel like we've had a lot of emotional goaltending. I think sometimes when it comes to like games like that, you just have to put emotion aside and say, I'm still standing in front of this net. Try and fucking stop it. Try and get it past me. I don't know.
The epitome of that is Grant Fuhr in the 80s, right? He would let in 4 or 5 goals, but then he wouldn't let in the 6, and you let your big horses up front outscore everyone. And yeah, Toronto can't do that. I think it's good for them to do it in the regular season, but they do need a certain caliber of goaltending, I think, going into the playoffs to mask a few of their deficiencies. So as it is right now, I think it's good, but they're going to need to bring their goaltending up a little bit more in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, once Woll comes back, you figure the tandem of Woll and Jones, and you hope that you rehab Sammy. You've got the 3 of them like playable. That should be, as Darty says, good enough goaltending for this team.
100%.
You cross your fingers and hope that everybody's healthy and playing well. Because I mean, we were Martin Jones not being good away from a complete disaster. So
no,
our luck might run out.
Into who do we start tomorrow? I'm 90% sure that it's Sammy because he's already here. But
who are they playing?
Detroit.
I mean, I guess you got to try Sammy out. I mean, let's talk about that. He gets called up after a couple practices, or a practice and some training, and no games with the Marlies. Why?
I thought he was going to be down there a lot longer than he was. I thought there was going to be like a slow rebuild of his confidence, get him away from the rink for 2-3 weeks, maybe work on his game, his mental side, and then get him a couple of games in the A. Like, you don't want to insult this guy too much. But to see him back up already without even having many practices, it's a bit surprising.
Could there be a weird little idea that they're more concerned about Dennis Hildeby's development than Sammy putting it back together?
It's entirely possible. Or maybe they have something on a back burner where if Sammy plays a good game or 2, they can offload him.
Yeah, I guess it is hard to trade a guy who's chilling in the A. Mm-hmm. It also kind of sucks to have Hildeby away from the Marlies and not playing. So I just think it's not, like, if you're not going to play Hildeby in the NHL and they had an opportunity to do that, and they didn't in a back-to-back against San Jose.
Yeah, I hear that. I don't think it's a bad experience for him to be up there, though. Like, he got to live the NHL lifestyle for a little bit. He got to practice with the best goal scorer in the world for a couple of weeks. This is very, very, very valuable experience for him. Would I have liked to see him play one game? Yeah, probably. But I'm not too upset that he didn't.
Yeah, I just mean, like, if going forward we weren't going to bring Sammy back up and Hildeby's just going to ride the pine, like, how good is that? How good is that for his long-term development? So maybe they're thinking, like, it might be better to have Hildeby play games in the A, like, consistently than to have him play 3 in the NHL. So
I think so.
I guess they might know that Wall is coming back sooner than later.
That's my guess.
And it's like, let's try to move on from Sammy, like get him a couple games and trade him. You might be right. So we'll see.
Now riddle me this, fellas. Did Sammy not get put on waivers or something at some point?
He did.
He did. Okay. In the middle of playing absolutely horrible. They sent him down and nobody claimed him. But, you know.
And to the best of my knowledge, I was going to say, if you're on waivers, like, anybody can pick you up, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, there's been a couple goalies that have gone down. We've seen Jack Campbell and Antti Ranta and Eric Comrie also all clear waivers this year. So
difference is Sammy only has this year on his contract, right? So
yeah, but it's like $3 million. I think it's the AAV is the reason the teams couldn't go for it. But
well, I guess my point in all of this is just like as you were mentioning with the other goaltenders, like like you get put on waivers, no one picks you up. It's like you know, obviously the current situation with him in Toronto is, you know, pretty hellish at this point. It's probably like a nightmare that won't end for him, right? And you know, unfortunately, no one decided to end that nightmare because we all know that any player who gets picked off the Leafs like ends up having a, you know, there's a good chance they're going to have a better time wherever they go than where they are here.
Probably.
But, you know, the great Winston Churchill once said that if you're going through hell, keep going. And I think that like it's obviously nothing's coming up Millhouse for Sammy at this point. So he might as well just fucking ride it out. And if they give him the opportunity to be between the pipes, like just you know, give it your all, buddy, because at this point, like, there's nothing else to lose, right? You gotta just kill it. And I expect nothing but greatness now. I'm sure there's gonna be a couple stinkers. You know, it's the Leafs. It's never usually the goaltender. Like, there's a good chance it's not the goaltender's fault, right? We play some stinky games in front of some great goaltenders. So, you know, I wouldn't doubt that, like, Sammy's going to have a couple bad games, but I can, you know, he's got nothing else better going on, so you might as well. If he gets between the pipes, you know, I expect greatness, all right? I bet that guy demands it. I bet Sammy's looking in the mirror right now saying, like, you know, like, shedding one manly tear and saying, I'm going to do it. I'm a winner and I'll do it.
You may not be wrong. Like he said, this was a huge wake-up call for him. He's obviously in a contract year, so he's trying to make the best for that. And like this guy fucking outdueled Vasilevsky last year. Let's not forget about this. He was one of the best goaltenders in the league last year. He's got a pedigree of being good. He's also has a history of slipping up here and there, but not for long periods in the way that he has been. So if he comes back and actually plays not too bad, I wouldn't be that surprised by it. And it's not a bad thing. It feels like everybody's kind of wanting him to fuck up again. Like, why? If he's playing good, this is good for us. This is a good problem to have.
I think the wanting him gone is just a reactionary thing that Leafs Nation has whenever they can clear cap money. They're like, oh, we can get rid of somebody? Great. Let's clear more cap money.
Leafs Nation does not have knee-jerk reactions. We are calm, cool, collected, and we think things through.
I think the other thing is because goaltending is such a confidence-based thing, like the team showing that they have the confidence in him to come back might help him out a bit. Like, you know, like from what we've seen and what we've heard from our goaltending coach and everything, like we feel like you can do this. That might be enough for him to just snap back into it. Like, oh, you know what? I am a professional goaltender. I can do this. So,
because what's the alternative, right? What if he plays a couple games in the A and then he plays like shit again? Is he gone completely? Like it's a really risky thing to do with a goaltender's confidence like him.
Yeah, and not to push the guy when he's down, but like when you have a comparable in Jack Campbell to look at, like, I don't want to be there. Like it kind of again with the mental game, it makes it harder. Like seeing somebody who's going through it worse than you and being like, I don't want to end up there.
Yeah.
And you know what? The great Gimli once said, certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for? All right? So go out there, Sammy, because you got nothing,
Yeah.
you got nothing to lose. Let's go save
quotes
Gondor
tonight.
It'd be great. Like, what if he plays really good? He goes on a heater, he's all of a sudden a trade chip for us. Or if Jones gets hurt, then, he's our backup. It's him playing good is good for us. We want that.
Good problem to have.
Exactly.
So the other good problem to have that we will segue into, because I know there's lots more to talk about the game, but it is late. Good problem to have
God,
is
it's late on Leafs late night.
I know, right? But good problem to have is too many good players that need too much money. There's been a lot of back and forth on the dollar value and all that, but you've heard it here, definitely not first, but William Nylander signed 11.5 times 8. So, we talked a lot about this, like literally the night before he signed it. So we don't need to recap a ton of that. Everyone knows what this does to the salary cap and all that. But what I want to talk about is salary cap aside, because fuck that, is Nylander worth $11.5 million for 8 years?
Yes.
Yes. Short answer is yes. The more long answer is it really depends where this cap goes, right?
And that's the problem
I
here.
fucking hate
is
that it hangs over everything.
Exactly. Is everybody's commentary, everybody's negative feelings towards this are 1,000% based on the salary cap, and that should not be the way that we look at the sport that we all love. So we should all be happy for the fact that Nylander has played his way into an insane raise and getting what he deserves, and for staying with this team for 8 years. Like, everybody should be happy about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so frustrating, but
so yes, he is worth it. This guy's going to be 100-point player, I think, going forward. He's on pace for 120 something right now. I don't think he's going to do that, but I think he is closer to 100 and something than he is 80 or 90. And that's hard to come by. And this guy was drafted by Toronto, developed by Toronto. We've had a notoriously hard time keeping our prospects in the fold. So here we are. We finally got a bunch of them, and everyone's fucking furious about it.
And how much of a giant flex is it to be like, yeah, we picked this guy 8th overall, by the way. 7 of you passed on this guy, and we just paid him 11.5 times 8 because he's worth that much money. How does that feel? Like, there's so many things to feel good about here. I mean, they keep talking about all these stats that these guys are breaking. Like, by the end of their runs, Nylander, Marner, and Matthews are going to be in the top of every single stat. So, like, it's insane to be mad about keeping somebody because of this insane salary cap. Like, what a dumb system.
And for a fan base that's always saying, like, playoffs this, playoffs that, he's been our best playoff performer for, like,
every year.
3 years. And guess what he's doing this year? He's killing penalties. He's doing a really good job at it, too.
All the way back to the Montreal series, he was the only one that showed up.
Darty, nice light.
Oh, buddy, there he is. Finally see ya. But yeah, all the way back to Montreal, I can remember being. I remember my video of taking all my Leaf shit down. I stopped on my Nylander action figure, and I was like, you know what? Not you. You're okay. You tried. Everybody else, fuck you.
I think it's a good deal. He bet on himself, so congratulations for that too, right? He probably could have signed for a 9.5, maybe 10 in the offseason. He said, fuck that. Took him to the bank. Whatever, good for him.
Hold my beer, and I'll hold my
stick. All these warriors at home too, like, when's the last time you guys left some money on the table at work? Just to have a better work environment, right? Let me know when that happened, because it doesn't fucking happen.
Exactly. And look, it's going to hurt for 1 year, and then we all know that Tavares is not going to sign for double digits again.
Exactly.
Like, that's just like the Minnesota Wild are making it work with a $14 million cap hit because of a buyout. Like, we can handle having no buyout cap hits and still maintaining a team.
We lost Suthy.
No, I'm here.
Nope. It says you'll continue in a new track. That is okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
We get the B side of Suthy now.
Hey-o.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard Suthy, but yeah, if the Minnesota Wild can take a huge cap hit and still be somewhat competitive, I know they're not great this year, but like we can stomach having a couple guys that are too good at the same time, you know?
Yes, we can.
Like it's not like it's dead space. It's a human being making 11 and a half who scores a shit ton of goals.
Yeah, get some players on ELCs.
Exactly.
It certainly is funny. Like we have come a long way with like Willy and his contracts and what his worth is, and you know what. It took a while for all of Leafs Nation, and there are very few doubters now, right? Like we all know that he is worth every penny. And if you find someone who still thinks that William Nylander is not worth that amount of money, and it's like, again, like the arguments are so dumb if there is. Yeah. And we've all been there. I'm pretty sure every single one of us has been on the opposite side of like, he's not worth that much. And now, you know, in 2024, we have all become accepted the fact that Willy is that good. He has earned that. He is definitely, you know, paid, you know, he is exactly what he is, you know, being paid. And it's one of those things where it's like, we're literally, you know, when you say what, you know, is the answer yes? It's like, yeah, the answer is yes, while also committing the Japanese art of seppuku. You know what I mean? Like we're well aware that, you know what I mean? Like we're like, yes! And we're like stabbing each other and our organs are coming out because we know that to lose Willy is losing everything, but to also pay Willy is losing everything. And it's just like, yes, this cap sucks. We look at baseball. We look at Ohtani, and he's like doing these crazy like Bobby Bonilla deals where he's like, what is it, like eight years of like $2 million, and then like 10 years of like $1 bajillion, you know, $1.5 Brazilian. Like how does that even make sense?
No, you know it's I mean? Nuts.
Like seven $1 gorillion. Like this guy's making like mad money. And like we're like complaining about William Nylander making like what is a king's ransom in this league, but is like literally nothing in any other league.
Yeah, he's like the type of player that's almost impossible to replace too. Like you heard the arguments on Twitter, which was, you know, let him walk. We'll take 3 players, sign him for, you know, $3 million each. That first of all, you don't have the roster space to do that. Secondly, they're not fucking William Nylander, right? It's insane to think about. And one last little thing about him: this guy's making under $7 million this year. It's wild. He's been underpaid for most of his contract right now, so I think him getting 11.5 is fine. It's been working itself out.
Let's get 3 guys worth $3 million that get paid $3 million. Okay, Sam Lafferty, Pierre Engvall, and like Ilya Mikheyev. Does that fix your problems having those 3 guys?
No,
like that's three. Those are $3 million players.
Whose spots are they taking? Right? It's so fucking stupid. I can't stand it.
It's like when you get a trade in fantasy that's like 3 players for 1. You're like, okay, but I have to drop 2 guys, you know?
We know all about that.
And to be completely fair, because I know last episode I was going off about the salary cap implications, but like this is Darty's point, is like we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. Like it's gonna suck next year. We're gonna have to absolutely scrape the bottom of the barrel to find ELC guys that we can fill out the edges of this roster with, or hope and pray that, you know, some of the Marlies are blossoming next year. But it's going to be tough. Like next year's potentially not going to be a fun year. Like we never know what this team can pull out, but there's going to be a quick drop off between the top 6 and the bottom 6 is, you know, my guess at least. Who knows what's going to be on defense, because we're losing a bunch of them too.
And a little shout out to Benito the Basset Hound. He was mentioning that too tonight on Twitter. It's maybe not a great time to trade Nick Robertson because he doesn't get paid much and we might need him next year. Just for money wise.
Very good point. A lot of talk around moving Nick Robertson just because he's been in and out of the lineup. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities. We know the potential's there and people are still putting value on him. It's just been such a tough run for this guy to get where he is now. So I find it strange because the Leafs are taking on projects like Kiefer Bellows. They took on, I don't even want to mention his name, sent back to Russia, Mr. AG. Who was the other one? Oh my God. Tyler Ennis. We took on as a project. Like it seems like the Leafs are taking on projects every year. So it would seem strange to ship one out. You know, it seems like Nick Robertson's kind of an own project, like one that you brought up. You should kind of see that through. No?
100%. Like I've always liked this guy too. I think his upside is huge. He's not going to thrive playing 9 to 11 minutes, unfortunately. But even still, if you look, he's got quite a few points for the amount of games he's played.
Yeah, he's got 6 goals.
Give him like a couple more minutes, and maybe someone better to play with, and who knows?
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out who AG was in this whole time, and I was like, cat food. That guy, you know, the fucking, like, I'll turn your whole family into, like, what did he say? He's like threatening them in the back seat, the cops, like.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, good, turn them into, like, duck liver pate or something. Man, that guy's nuts.
One phone call. How crazy is that? How crazy is it that you're playing in the KHL now and no one's ever going to hear from you again? Oh, man.
Moron.
Absolute moron. Okay, so Suthy will be right back, but we're going to talk All-Star stuff. And the big news of the night, the absolutely massive news of the night, is that not one... Oh, where's my thingy? Why is it muted? Did you hear that? Did it work?
Is it explosion.wave?
No, not one. Not two. Not three. But 4 Toronto Maple Leafs will be joining the All-Star game because thanks to all of us in Leafs Nation, not only William Nylander, but Morgan Riley and Mitch Marner will be joining Austin Matthews at the All-Star game in Toronto. That definitely had nothing to do with the fact that it's in Toronto at all, and I will stand by that because Vancouver has 5 people going and we have 4.
If you're listening to this in the dead of winter and your Pioneer audio system in your car blows out your back window, we sincerely apologize, but we will not be held responsible for it.
That's when you go, okay, Google, make a note. Leafs Late Night is not responsible. And it just does that in people's notes while they're listening to this.
Yeah, what happened to your car? Oh yeah, I was listening to a podcast and like the booming bass of a howitzer just blew out my windows.
So, okay, I want to talk All-Star here. So just to recap, because I know it's been a while since we talked about it. The weekend, we start on Thursday with the 4 captains and their celebrity guests. I think so far we only know Matthews and McDavid as the two captains, and everybody is assuming, and McKinnon too. Okay, I don't know if everyone's assuming or it's like actually confirmed that Bieber is the celebrity partner for Matthews, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I mean, considering what we saw with the jerseys today, it will probably happen. So we saw everybody announced from the fan vote, and there's going to be 4 captains that are going to pick their teams on Thursday, which will also feature the PWHL 3-on-3 showcase. So make sure you watched everything on that Thursday because it's going to be super exciting. If you haven't caught any PWHL games yet, I highly recommend it. We will talk about that next time because we don't have time tonight, but super exciting games that are so loud. The fans are crazy. But All-Star. I want to do a little game. I know there's only 3 of us, but let's just pull up the All-Star roster real quick. And if you had the number 1 pick, Suthy, who would you take?
I'm not a homer, so I'd pick Austin Matthews.
Darty, what about you? Who do you think you would pick? Number 1. Austin Matthews is off the board.
You know what? My namesake is a goaltender, so I will pick Connor Hellebuck. I feel like he's been pretty good, decent, has he not?
Good pick.
That is a really good pick, actually.
Because remember, we're playing for $1 million here.
Yeah,
there's actual money on the line this year.
Is this one for $1 million too? Or I thought it was just the skills.
We should look into it, but I think it is it's for some cash.
And then if I'm here, I'm gonna take oh boyo.
I mean, come on, this is
I'll probably go Connor McDavid.
You probably should.
I was between him and Quinn Hughes, like thinking defense, but like because we got to stop all of these crazy people, right?
You're not wrong.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Connor.
You know, it's funny. Like for a lot of these guys too, like $1 million is like that's a turkey dinner on the table for some of these guys. There's no laughing matter.
No doubt.
Do we want to pick whole teams here?
Do you want to?
I mean, we should wait until we have Justin because I kind of want to do 4 and actually like write them down and keep track of it, and I can't do that right now. So, but just for anybody who is watching, you can look at they have all the roster up with the new additions as of tonight, being Jeremy Swayman, Alex Gorgiev, Kirill Makar, Leon Draisaitl, Sergei Bobrovsky, and then Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Morgan Riley, Brock Besser, Thatcher Demko, JT Miller, and Elias Pettersson. Man, happy times in Vancouver. Let's hope they don't burn the city down.
Last belt.
Yeah, I know. Last thing I want to touch on with the All-Star here is the big news that came out tonight. Otherwise, other than the fan vote, and that's these jerseys, these Drew House X NHL All-Star jerseys. There is a lot of very loud opinions on these, louder than the colors of the jerseys themselves. So if you're listening,
I've just
we've got
seen them
blue,
now.
red, yellow, white.
This is the first time I'm seeing them, and this picture is very small because I'm looking at it on my phone, but it kind of stink.
I thought that too at first, and now I kind of like them. I've come around.
Here, I'll make a bigger for you there.
I feel like if they're on, a full-size gentleman, they might actually look a little bit better. Just the way they're hanging right now kind of gives them not much life. With the pads and everything.
I mean, they're fun. I like them. Have we seen like the font on the back for the names?
Yeah, it's like the Drew font. It's kind of silly.
That's the one thing I didn't really like too much about it.
Yeah,
the blue and white ones I like a lot. The yellow one I'm a little ish about. The red one's pretty cool too. It's the yellow one I don't like very much.
2020. Yeah, the yellow one is a little how do I say this? Nashville Predators loud.
Mustardy, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good color for a jersey. It's just very bright. And it's funny today when I was looking through what do you call it? Streaming service app logos on my TV. Here I can switch to share this tab instead. Can you see this?
Oh, okay, yeah.
There. So that's the one without a name on it. It says All-Star. Let me just zoom in on this.
I like the numbers in the back. I like that.
Yeah, that shading with the Drew font. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, so sorry, I was looking through the apps on my TV to find Bell 5 TV, and I realized like every single streaming app is either blue or red, and I had to like stop for a second. I was like, oh my god, which blue one is it? Because I kept hitting Amazon Prime, and then I was like, nope, that's Disney. Nope, that's Crave. Like all of them are blue. Why aren't any of them yellow? And it's because yellow is not a very calming color to look at when there's this much of it. It's a nice accent color, like all these the front and the back logos are all yellow, but like a whole jersey, the yellow on yellow, a little much. Like if you're gonna go yellow on the star and on the actual NHL logo, like why would you pick that color as? Or why would you pick yellow as one of the colors? I guess you're going red, yellow, and blue as like primary colors.
Like a green or something with the yellow. That would have been pretty sick.
Yeah, for sure. You could have done green. You could have done
purple.
I wouldn't do orange.
No.
You could have done red, blue, black, and white, but that's kind of boring.
I don't know. I like fun.
I feel like Van Gogh used a lot of yellow in his paintings, and that guy cut off an ear. So maybe you're right about that not being very unsettling. The yellow,
It's just like my eyes are immediately drawn to that one for better or worse.
Yeah.
So otherwise, like I think here's the thing: the All-Star Game is for the young generation, right? Like it's for kids, it's for getting people into the game, it's for showing off all of the big names. You can watch all of them in one place. Maybe you're a casual fan. Like that's what the All-Star Game's for, right?
We desperately need that. This is a league who needs to market their fans way more than they are. I mean, they're stars rather.
Yeah. And look, go to the grocery store, go to like I don't know where else, because I only go to the grocery store because I'm 29. But go look at like new branding go to like the health food aisle. Look at like a gluten-free pack of cookies. Look at what what the branding on like oat milk, or like think of like Magic Spoon. You know, all this new Gen Z targeted stuff is this kind of bubbly, funky. It's like a pendulum shift from the blandification of the last, the 2010s that we had, where everyone went to simplified logos. Like even I saw Pepsi just changed their logo back to like a new fun colored one, like the old days, instead of like the word Pepsi in lowercase. Like, we're seeing a shift back to bigger, louder colors and designs, and I think this is on brand with that. I think it fits with what the kids are wearing, and that's what the point of this is. And like tying Justin Bieber in, I don't think he's that popular with the kids anymore, but like I think Drew House itself is doing well as like a street brand. So I think this works
for the NHL, because this feels like something that Bettman would typically not do. So the fact that we are doing something a little outside of the box, I'm here for it.
I'm glad it's not another throwback thing, because I feel like the last couple of years of the NHL has been, reverse retro and throwback stuff. So this is something that's more like new generation NHL, and I kind of like it. I like also that this All-Star looks like he definitely took it from No Name. Like,
so
100%.
Like,
that's so funny.
100%. That's No Name.
You mentioned like the blandness of advertising, like the 2010s. I feel like that's a little bit due to like the popularity of Mad Men, where like the emphasis was more on like nostalgia, and I think people took like that show, because that was I was like a Sopranos-esque show. Like people took that to heart, especially a show about advertising, right? And just advertising should, in a sense, be simple. But I think a lot of companies did take that the wrong way, especially, again, you brought Pepsi. Like, they really screwed the pooch on that one. Like, their logo has been so boring and bland forever. And I'm like, I remember seeing a picture of like the history of Pepsi Cola, and their original logo was like this really cool, like old-timey font. And I was like, that's what you should be using. I was like, sometimes you just get it right the first time and you don't have to change it. Like Pabst Blue Ribbon per se, like they've always been, they've never really changed their logo, and throughout their history, they've had so many different reinvents of who they were as a beer. You know what I mean? Like from our time, they were the hipster beer, but from the time before that, they were just the cheap beer, and the time before that, they were literally the Blue Ribbon, like prize winning beer. And yet they've stayed consistently, popular. So it's like sometimes, like when you get the logo right the first time, there's no sense changing it. Honestly, I like to bring this all back to the same point. I like these jerseys, but I feel like we really got to go back to like the yellow shield. They got to harken back to that at some point. They keep trying to avoid it. And I'm telling you, like I used to have the Martin Brodeur draft pick behind the yellow shield as like my.
Buddy, this is yellow. What are you saying?
Oh, sorry, the orange shield. Sorry, I get my colors mixed up. Orange shield. The orange, the old classic orange NHL shield. Like,
they put that back, didn't they? On the last. I think it was the last reverse retros. They put it at the top, but I know what you're talking about. The little thing.
They need to bring it back for the All-Star. This, I'm sorry. I'm sure the kids love it. It's junk. Those jerseys are garbage. I'm sure people buy them, but it's just these jerseys look like the purple ketchup of jerseys. Okay, like they'll be fun today, but they won't be the ones we'll talk about later. Like there was some All-Star jerseys that really kicked ass, and these just aren't them.
What I think will
really
be cool,
shitty ones too. But
what I think will be cool is that you can get your choice of Matthews, Marner, Nylander, or Riley on one of these, and it'll kind of be like a standout of like, they were all on that team that year when we had these crazy jerseys. And maybe the next couple of years things will get weirder and weirder, or maybe it'll tone it down. But like, I think it's kind of cool that a year that we have 4 Leafs, we've got these kind of crazy jerseys that we can
right?
Exactly, right? It's like a moment in Leafs history. Whether this goes down as the better one, or that time we were all, I think it's the right on board with a weird one.
There's no real history for these All-Star jerseys at this point, right? It's like really Darty said. I do like the orange, but so why not switch it up every year? Like you said, make it original to that time frame.
Yeah. Okay, so last thing we want to talk about today, we've got hot takes. So instead of questions, I asked for hot takes tonight. So let's go through those. First off, we've got the first one to hit this. Sam at Sumed Kanau. I'm sorry, I butchered that. I'm going to get flamed for this, but Sammy is better than Jones. Where's my fire?
I mean, if you look at his body of play and everything from last year on, you're right, but he sure as fuck isn't this year.
Yeah, I mean, I can't like we were saying. I like the way that Jones has been playing. I feel like if Sammy's at 100%, he's probably better than Jones at 100%. But like, that's just not what we have right now, you know. And to be fair, Jones is probably playing at like 110%.
This guy outdueled Vasilevsky last year in the playoffs. He's got a good pedigree. He's a good goaltender when he's on, but when he's not, Darty's better than him.
You know what? Like I like Martin Jones just because like who the hell is Martin Jones? You're like this guy just like nobody expected this. This wasn't supposed to be thrust upon him, and even if it was, even if we did expect it to be thrust upon him, we didn't expect him to be as good as he has been. And again, like we could put some of that on the team, and we could put some of that on maybe just the teams that we've been playing. But it's a feel good story, and who knows when the gravy train comes to an end. But like we all started the season expecting Sammy to be lights out because of how he beat Vasilevsky. And again, maybe that's because of the team. Maybe that's because the team that was in front of Vasilevsky. Yeah. But at the same time, like there was a story going into that series that Vasilevsky couldn't be beat. Vasilevsky this, Vasilevsky that. He'll stop. He'll let a few goals in, but then he'll stop it. And we somehow, after tooth and nail, beat him. And the guy that was between the pipes when we did that was Sammy. And you know what? Like we expected similar results, but of course, the regular season, the Leafs have their moments, and sometimes it doesn't always lead to positive mental effects for goaltending. But look, Samsonov is still Samsonov. He's only a year older. That's in the grand scheme of things at his age, that doesn't change a lot considering he hasn't had, a life-altering injury. He's just been bad. And, even great golfers get the yips, they say that all people of all sports get it, but it was known, the term is from golfing. And I would argue that Sammy may have a case of the yips. Anything like it's like trying to get rid of a hiccup, right? Like eventually it goes away. And I think that Sammy has a chance. There's still, I said, he's only a year older. It's not like he had some life-altering injury that like he's coming back. Like say, what's his name that was on IR? I can't remember. It was Matt Murray. Yeah. Right. Like Matt Murray just looks like a bag of bones. But Sammy, there is the chance. I do believe that this hot take is right. Yeah. That Sammy is the guy, and we're gonna find out come postseason.
Sabo.
Love it. Okay, next one. Classic Kyle's Misadventures. A cross-check is no longer a cross-check if it is 1 against Toronto and 2 against particularly Austin Matthews. What the fuck was with the officiating tonight? I mean, we didn't talk about that, but I said, like, Keefe better take the fine. I know the guys blew this game on their own, but, I mean, one of those goals would not have happened had a penalty been called when it should have been. We had soft-ass calls on the Leafs. There was a slash to the hands of...
2 missed by Drouin.
Yeah, I think it was Drouin who slashed... Was it McCabe on the hands? I don't remember who.
I forget who he got, but he got someone pretty good.
Yeah, and then we see Matthews get absolutely demolished with a cross-check to what looked like the upper shoulder. He's hunched over into the boards there. Dangerous play. Luckily, he shakes it off and he keeps playing, but no call there. And that was kind of it. It sucks.
That can't happen anymore, man. Like, I understand we're in a tight game, 3-3, but the next time he's on the ice... I want to say like something has to happen to him, right? At the risk of taking a penalty, but like, or maybe next time we play them, but like that shit can't go on, right? Otherwise, it's open season on Matthews, and everyone knows it, and we need to put a stop to it. I thought we put a stop to
it. Is this not like the train dilemma of like the Leafs and like NHL as it is? Like we've had so many different instances unrelated to the Leafs of like having this conversation of retaliation and what it is and what it isn't and what it should be and what it shouldn't be. But when it comes to Austin Matthews, retaliation means pulling out like literal axes and murdering the guy.
No,
like, that's what we expect.
Awful place to lose you.
Oh, you lost me. Sorry. What I was saying was if I don't remember where you lost me. Retaliation is it's just one of those disgusting things that like it's like nobody wants to talk about, how to slaughter the chickens. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to talk about how the meat on the counter gets made. And it's like, it's like at the end of the day, like we've had this conversation about different instances that are Leafs unrelated. We had this conversation about, hurting people and not hurting people and not being snaky and not being mean, not being rude. But at the same time, it's like when it comes to us and Matthews, that we want the guys out there with pitchforks and committing murder. Like, as sad as it is, like I'm not advocating it, but like deep in our guts, in our soul, we're like kill him, get that guy, fucking kill him, stab him, But like. But at the end of the day, like, what is too much? What isn't enough? Like, what do we really want for Matthews? You know what I mean? It just sucks. It's the shittiest thing.
Look, we saw McCabe throw a huge hit afterwards that ended up getting him an interference call. So that was kind of the retaliation
that was his makeup,
that didn't go well, right? Like, it resulted in a power play when the last thing the Leafs needed was to be shorthanded again. So, yeah, you can retaliate for these things, but the timing is crucial too. Like, when you're tied and it's that late in the game.
That's the dilemma.
It's hard to just say, we have to stick up for him and give up the power play. Like, that's where you need your captain and your coach to step in and be like, yo, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And
play these guys again next year. Take his number.
Yeah.
That type of shit. Or like you have a little piece of shit who behind the play, you slash the guy's ankle pretty hard. You break his stick around his back. You do something that you're not going to get caught. But like, at least let them know like that can't happen.
Just don't chop a guy in the face.
Yeah.
In a face off.
Just the problem with the Leafs is like when we do it, we end up like Nazem Kadri, right? Like in the playoffs. Like we do
like it goes too far, right?
Yeah, and that's it. That's what pisses me off is like we always get caught. Like it's like we're the kid that always ends up in detention, even though like everybody else is just as bad. It's like for frick's sakes, like what, like. That's why my point was pointless. Like I don't think there was an end to it. It was just me going around in a circle, which usually does happen. It was just
a quote by I think Sheldon said that he was told that the ref said that he didn't cross-check him, that Matthews just fell on his own accord. So that kind of stuff pisses me off. Like there needs to be some accountability for the refs. Like they need to have some type of review system where this type of stuff doesn't happen, or at least like you're explaining yourself, right? The NBA used to have in the last 2 minutes. Every call they'd make, they'd have to go through the sheet and explain why they did it. There needs to be some type of accountability somewhere. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Leafs fan. This is like sports wide, every league.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at the 15-minute offside review in the Oilers game. Like officiating is going to shit
NFL
the more and more technology these guys get.
The Raptors got boned the other day playing the Lakers.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hope that MLSE is comfortable pulling the checkbook out for another fine to a coach because
they got that money.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's pennies to them, but it's the thought. Got to pay another fine because you guys are complaining about refs. Well, yeah. How about you use your billions and tell Gary, who works for you, to fix his fucking refereeing?
That is the finest like horse browns I've ever seen. Like, can't believe that ref said. That ref said that he fell on his own accord. It's like, yeah, well, the air fell out of your tires on its own accord last night. Sorry, you couldn't make it home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of retaliation. That's the kind of retaliation I would expect from a ref that brain dead. It's like, you know what? Like, if you're gonna say that kind of stuff, then like, I hope someone steals your catalytic converter. You know what I mean? Like,
oh god. Okay. C Shanny 56. Shanny says Leafs turnovers cost them the game. Leafs turnovers cost them games, plural, on both of those turnovers and games. Yeah, I mean, it's been one of the common mistakes this year. I think there's been very few things that they've blown leads on. Like we were saying before, not or getting too comfortable when you have the lead has been one of them. And turnovers has been another big one this year. I mean, just shitty passes out of their own end that end up back into that. So
bad times when you're on a penalty kill, like you have a open shot just to get out of the zone and you can't do it like Gio did the other day. That stuff that kills you in a game.
I mean, McCabe in overtime against the Islanders, like there's been a lot of shitty turnovers.
Yeah.
That have literally cost them a point.
Well, you know what, fellas? I would say that I've seen that Tim Hortons is re-releasing some old flavors, flavors of the past for donuts, and I think maybe they need to do a new one. I think they need to do the Leafs turnover. I think that's what they need to do. I think that would be a great seller. Some Leafs turnovers. That would be great. A whole box of them.
They would sell well in Quebec, that's for sure. So fun guy, Southpaw Cal, shout out, says, kind of wish Revo was playing.
No, you don't.
I don't. Who's going to take out?
Noah Gregor.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I guess. I mean, well, what's he going to do? Is he going to go fight Manson tonight? Get a 5-minute instigator and then the game shot? Like,
yeah, like I feel like the attitude has, I don't want to say rubbed off on the team. I was looking for better words than that, but it seems like the attitude has rubbed off on the team, and they are stepping up to the fight when they need to. So I don't really see the point of bringing him in.
I guess you say like, the counter arguments, the deterrent is he doesn't do it at all if Reeves is there, but I haven't seen anything to back that up really.
Honestly, I like Simon Benoit as the bully.
Me too.
Like somebody on defense, like I'd like the fact that I'm scared to go into their zone instead of Reeves being a forward. I feel like it's kind of an awkward thing to be the guy who's fighting people and you're the forward when the team doesn't really need help getting to the net. They need help keeping people away from theirs. And Benoit is like the replacement for Luke Shen. And, you know, the number's not just a novelty. I think it's they play very similarly. They're mean and they scare people.
Yeah, or if we can have a fourth line forward who could skate, defend, and fight too, that'd be great. But I just don't. It's not Reeves.
Darren Roanoke. Oh, go ahead, Bart.
I was going to say, it's short and sweet. It's just you don't want Reeves out there like when Kyle Clifford went out there for 2 minutes and then was out the whole game. You know what I mean?
Oh, and got suspended. Yeah.
It's like that's what we're like asking if you put Reeves on the ice now, because I just don't think and maybe we just haven't seen enough of him, and you won't see it from him on this particular team. It's that like he just doesn't seem like he's got the not the fight left in, but he doesn't really have like the finesse anymore, like to be a
nor the wheels.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just add them to the list of guys we got at the end of their run, just one season too late.
Mm-hmm.
Darren Roanoke at Roanoke Darren. That's clever. They need to trade for a top 4 D-man and a bottom 6 forward immediately, or they may be bounced from a playoff spot. With one of the tougher schedules to finish the year, nothing is guaranteed. Stop cutting off. Boom. Hot take.
Explosions.wave.
So let's break it down. Trade for a top 4 D-man. Trade for one. I think I'm just going to dig into my opinion from before that they just need to rotate their guys better. Like give a rest to Gio, put somebody else in, and, you know, just look, you gave Benoit and Lagesson a chance for, 2 months, and look what you got out of them that you weren't expecting. So I think there's enough within that you can do that. You're moving on from a lot of them at the end of the season. Like who are you trading for one?
Exactly. Who are you grabbing and who are you going to trade for this? Like is like
Nick
Robertson your guy? I don't see him landing like a top 4, right? You're not going to trade Minden. You're not going to trade Cowan. They want to keep their picks, I think, for once. So how do you do it?
And if you're not trading one of the D, then like who do you bump out? Like there's just so many.
I can see them getting another depth defenseman, but I don't think they're trading for like a bona fide top 4.
Bottom 6 forward. That one I don't hate. I think the bottom 6 has been a little stale. The third line's been great, but the fourth line has just kind of fallen back into that we don't know what we're doing.
I know where you're going, Darty. I can see your smile.
I'll let him go for it.
Say it.
What do you got?
Say it.
He's muted though.
I don't even think you know what I'm going for, but I was just thinking about it because you guys kind of cut in and out on my end, and that's probably just my shitty internet because I see I'm only 73% loaded. But what I was gonna say is we should have had a counter for how many times we said who in that one. It's like it just kind of comparing who. I thought there was an owl in the building, but it just sounded like
Late Night Owl now available.
Yes, but it's kind of just like who are we trading for? Who?
So I guess I'll parlay it into this. Should we show interest in Perry?
Yes.
That's where I thought you were going. You had a big shitty grin.
Oh, I always have a shitty grin.
I agree. I kind of agree. If you can have someone who's fast to play on his line with him, which he can be quick, then yeah.
Yeah, look, I think Gregor and McMahon are both kind of not plugs, but they're there because they're the best. Bodies. They're the best thing available that makes less than $1 million. I think if you had a better option, you would stick them in, but that's kind of where we're at right now. You don't want to put Robertson on the fourth line.
It's not a fourth liner, yeah.
Maybe you get Kiefer Bellows up, but like I don't know where that's going. I think that's still kind of a big question mark. Yeah, I don't hate it because look, if it's just money, and the Leafs kind of have that, enough that they could offer Corey Perry at least.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to send anything out the door, which again the Leafs don't have. I kind of like it.
Me too,
especially for the playoffs.
What do you get for the guy who has nothing? You know what I mean? Like this guy, like he definitely went through the ringer, and it's just like, oh man, I have a shitty grin now because like all I can think about is just like he comes to the team and like he's shaking hands with everybody, introducing himself, and he gets pulled in real close by Austin Matthews. He's like, "Stay away from my mom."
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Like, oh man, and we all know that's absolute like horse shit. Like it's just I can't believe it was disgusting. It was really trash. Like it was like Maury Povich style like tabloid news. I hated it. I hated it from the get-go that people brought that rumor up, and like it's just obviously not hearing anything from the shit storm town that is Chicago. It's like people let their imagination run wild because that organization has been it's just been trash ever since the the KB incident. So it's just
handled that one smooth as butterfingers.
It was just, exactly right. So it's like we just expected nothing but more drama, but it just I really didn't like what happened like in regards to that story. Said that tabloid news just getting blown completely out of proportion, and I felt so bad for Bedard because like that guy's said he's a young stud like that. You don't want that. You don't want
just
that
like
kind
a good
of stuff.
kid too. Like it sucks.
Who now has a broken jaw and is missing his first All-Star game.
Also, didn't Friedman come out and say, sorry, Darty, that like
go.
If it happened on any other team, he might not have been expelled from the team.
That's
there's something about the incident that it wasn't like.
I didn't hear that, but that's interesting because like it shows that the Blackhawks know how short their own leash is, that they couldn't let something like that get out. But then the fact that they still fumbled,
they handled it terribly. So they did one thing right, but then they still managed to fuck it up, it's wild.
Which is crazy because that means that they had the time to calculate their response to this and how they were going to handle it, and they still did it badly. Like holy shit, guys!
And when you let rumors like that are absolutely bullshit, get announced in like on national news, right? You got like Frank Saravelli saying that's total horseshit. The fact that he's even bringing it up is like ridiculous. It's like. It's at the peak of ridiculousness, right? Like it should have never gotten to the point where someone even had to deny it on national TV. You know what I mean? And it's like you get to this point where you have a young star and he's basically getting like if anybody knows Degrassi, it's like he's basically being put under Campbell Saunders level stress, right? Like you got to do that to the young guy. Like he's got to worry about his goddamn mom now. Like he's a national treasure in the NHL, and he's got to worry about what people are saying about his mom. That's disgusting. That's
he's supposed to be the next Crosby, and like he has to deal with this in the first half of his year in the NHL. It's you said it's insane.
It seems like a bad year for tabloid shit. Like, I mean, we also had the Kevin Hayes stuff that came out with this Cutter Gauthier. That was awful. Like the threats that him and his family have been getting, and the
not good.
I don't even want to talk about that. But it's just seems that there's been a lot of toxicity coming from the fan bases this year, and I don't want to blame it all on Elon Musk, but anytime I can, I will. I don't think it's lost on anybody that shitty opinions are flying around a lot quicker on X than they were on Twitter. So, it gives life to a lot more bullshit when people
even just like
you can't block people and
people in general need to calm down. Like, this is entertainment. This is sports. Remember, like the whole World Junior thing, like how people were attacking these kids who aren't making any money yet doing this. They're not professional. Saying like how they let their country down, how they're fucking terrible, blah blah blah. Like so many worse things I'm not going to mention right now. But like these are grown-ass men and women sitting behind their keyboards, just shitting on kids, and it carries on through everywhere in sports right now. It's brutal. Yeah. Everyone needs to relax a little bit. This is a game.
It's just like the ridiculousness, the sexualization, the over-the-top nature. It's just like that's the stuff that like needs to stay on fucking B-thread. It shouldn't be on a popular networking site. It should. Like, it's just weird that like we're getting to a point. I said like stuff like that's making national news. It's just garbage. It's just that. And
yeah.
But to go back to a serious note, obviously, things weren't looking pretty great for Corey Perry, and I think he's still wormy enough to give it one go for being a badass and being a threat on the ice. And if there's any team that can rehabilitate him, like hell, we've taken a lot of crap players, and why not take one more?
Yeah, look, if you've got Reeves sitting in the press box, you might as well bring Corey Perry in. Like, fuck.
From Northern Ontario too, Ontario boy, bring him in.
Yeah, and I feel like for everybody that says, he won't come to Canada, like, he just wants to go for a cup run, and there's not that many teams with the money. The Leafs, thanks to some LTIR and gymnastics, have a bit to throw his way. Yeah. Why not? Like, I don't think he would turn down, $1.25 million or whatever it is prorated for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
You know how it is. You do well in the Leafs, you get paid somewhere else, right? So
yeah. I don't know if he's got another year, but we'll see. Mook at Twins 44, last one. Their stars played like stars. Ours did not. I mean, come on.
Riley played good. Matthews played all right. Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, Riley, like a true all-star, wasn't distracted by the announcement like it seemed the rest of the guys were, and put the puck where his mouth is, and scored.
Yeah,
fucking beauty goal.
At the same time, I don't think the Canadian really broke the game or anything, but their stars did play better than ours.
Yeah, it felt like matchup wise, they were playing a lot better. Like they were, I don't know. They seemed to control play when they were on the ice in our zone a lot more than we did. So, yeah, tough night for the top boys.
We'll come back tomorrow.
But, yep. All right. Thanks, y'all. It's been real. We are out of here. We'll be back with the next game.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow. Thanks, boys.
You know what they say, if you gotta keep your stick on the ice, and if the women don't find you handsome, they better at least find you handsome.
I stopped the outro for you to steal 2 different slogans. Darty Roto, everybody.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
And Marty Silstra and Steph Jones.